Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. For this deep dive, we're going to be looking at wealth building and really trying to get to the bottom of what it takes to really achieve financial abundance.
Uh-huh.
You sent over this Vinney Chopra YouTube video, Abundance Mindset, Seven-Figure Mindset Secrets, and I gotta say there's some pretty interesting ideas in here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Vinny and his co-host Galter Amarello, they really do cover a lot of ground. I mean, they get into the psychology of wealth, but they also talk about like the very practical aspects of investing.
Hmm.
What really stood out to me was just how much they emphasize mindset.
Yeah.
Like shifting your mindset is like the foundation for financial success.
Yeah, that really does come through pretty strongly. I mean, like when Vinny's talking about save to invest, rather than save for a rainy day, that really caught my attention. I mean, he almost makes it sound like saving for a rainy day is like, inviting negativity into your life.
Yeah, it is an interesting perspective. I think what he's trying to say is that, like our thoughts and beliefs can actually like influence our reality. So like if we're focused on saving for something bad, we might actually be like subconsciously inviting that bad thing to happen. But, when we say with like the intention of investing, it shifts our focus towards growth and abundance.
Yeah, and Gulter makes this pretty striking analogy about keeping cash under your mattress. Like he points out that, it could get lost in a fire or stolen, which,
Yeah,
I mean, really highlights the downside of just like, letting your money sit there doing nothing.
it's a good point.
Yeah.
Even if we think we're being safe, something could happen that we're not expecting and we can lose all our savings. But when you invest, your money can actually grow and work for you even when you're sleeping.
Exactly. And they go on to talk about like the power of compounding, and Vinny uses this term, the rule of 72. I have to admit, I'm not really familiar with that rule.
Oh yeah, the rule of 72 is basically just like a quick way to estimate how long it takes for your money to double based on like the rate of return. So like you just divide 72 by your annual rate of return. Like let's say you're getting a 7% return. It would take like roughly 10 years to double your money. But then he challenges people to aim for much higher returns, like 25% per year.
Whoa, 25%. That seems incredibly ambitious. I mean, but I guess that's where the mindset piece comes in, believing that you can actually achieve those kinds of returns.
Exactly. It all comes back to that idea of like shifting your beliefs about what's possible.
Hmm.
Of course, aiming for a 25% return, you're going to be taking on more risk. So it's important to, do your research and understand the potential downsides. But it's not about just blindly chasing high returns. It's about being strategic and informed.
Yeah, and he really stresses how important financial literacy is, encouraging people to like, take advantage of free resources like podcasts, YouTube, even online academies. It's nice to see somebody so successful really advocating for like, accessible learning.
Yeah, I agree. And Vinny's own story is like a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
He admits that like 20 years ago, he didn't even understand some basic financial concepts like ROI or IRR.
For those who might not know, can you quickly explain what those are?
Oh, yeah, sure. So ROI stands for return on investment. And basically, it just measures how profitable an investment is, IRR, which is internal rate of return is a little more complicated. But
Yeah.
essentially, it's the discount rate that makes the net present value of all the cash flows from a project equal to zero.
Okay, so like in simpler terms, IRR helps you figure out how profitable an investment could be over time.
Yeah, exactly. And, Vinny says that his success came from, educating himself and getting guidance from mentors. It's a pretty powerful message that anyone can achieve financial abundance if they have the right mindset and they're willing to learn.
Yeah, and it's not just about like blindly absorbing information either. He quotes this investor who wrote a book about the Magellan Fund, and the investor basically said you should only invest in things you truly understand, which seems like good advice for anybody, especially with all the complex financial products out there these days.
Absolutely. If you understand your investments, you can make better decisions and manage risk. You're less likely to, fall for hype or make impulsive choices based on what everyone else is doing.
Right, and even when you have a solid understanding of an investment, Vinny is a big advocate for diversification.
Yeah.
He talks about all these different asset classes, real estate, mobile homes, oil and gas, even heavy equipment. He likes to spread his bets around.
He does. What's interesting is like how he chooses to diversify. He talks about how he prefers investing in hotels or converting office buildings into hotels or senior living facilities,
Yeah.
which kind of suggests that he's identifying shifts in the market and, changing his strategy accordingly.
That is interesting. I mean, I'm curious to hear more about, like, why he's making those choices.
Yeah, me too. It seems like he sees a lot of potential in hospitality and senior care. Maybe because of things like, the rise of remote work and the aging population. It really highlights how important it is to not just diversify randomly, but to do it strategically.
Mhm.
Aligning your investments with like emerging trends and market opportunities.
So it's not just about spreading your investments across different things, but also about understanding what's actually happening in those markets.
Exactly. And I think that's a really important takeaway for anyone who wants to build wealth. Diversification is important, but it's not some magic solution. You have to do your research and understand how each market works.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot more to unpack here, especially when it comes to Vinny's specific investment choices and his reasoning behind them.
Mm.
So let's take a quick break and then we'll get more into that when we come back.
Right. So we were just talking about Vinny's investment strategy, and specifically like his focus on hotels and senior living facilities. What's the thinking there? Yeah. He doesn't really go into a ton of detail in the video, but we can kind of piece things together. I mean, he does say that he sees a shift in demand, maybe because of things like more people working remotely and the aging population.
So fewer people needing those traditional office spaces and more people looking for flexible accommodations or specialized care.
Right. And he talks about this hotel he recently invested in Pensacola, Florida. And he specifically chose Pensacola because it's becoming a really popular tourist destination.
Yeah.
Attracting people who are maybe looking for vacation spots that are a little bit outside of like the typical crowded cities.
And he even mentions the nightly rates for his hotel rooms, like $465 a night, and even higher during peak season. Sounds like he really found a good niche.
It does seem like a pretty strategic move.
Yeah.
By investing in a place that's becoming a tourist hotspot and offering those like higher end accommodations, he's really positioning himself to take advantage of that increasing demand.
And this actually kind of goes back to something else he talks about, the importance of continuous learning and finding good mentors. He even says that he wasn't familiar with certain real estate investing terms until pretty recently.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. It makes him seem more human. It shows that even someone who's achieved a lot of success is still constantly learning and growing. It's not about knowing everything from the start. It's about being open to new information and seeking out expertise from people who have more experience.
Yeah, it makes his journey feel more relatable and achievable. He's not just this real estate tycoon who just appeared out of nowhere. It took time and effort and a commitment to constantly learning new things.
Exactly. And he's very open about sharing his own learning process.
Hmm.
Talking about asking questions and finding mentors. And I think that emphasis on education really reinforces the idea that anyone can achieve financial abundance if they have the right approach and they're dedicated to learning.
Yeah, and he connects this to the idea of side hustles, encouraging people to find something they're passionate about and potentially turn it into a source of income. It's like he's saying, don't just work for money, work for something you love.
That's such a powerful message,
Yeah.
especially in a world where so many people feel stuck in jobs they don't enjoy. He's really advocating for a shift in mindset, a way of thinking about work as not just a means to an end, but as a source of fulfillment and potential abundance.
He even tells the story of working 19 hours in a day and not even feeling tired because he was so into what he was doing. I mean, do you think that's sustainable, though? 19 hours is a lot.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
While his passion is definitely admirable, it does make you wonder about work-life balance and burnout. I mean, maybe he can handle that kind of intensity because he's really aligned with his purpose. But, it's important for each person to find what works best for them and to prioritize their well-being.
Yeah, it's like that saying, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But even with a job you love, it's still important to have healthy boundaries and make time for rest and relaxation.
He also talks about the importance of having a good team and mentors to support you along the way, which seems to be a recurring theme for him. Surrounding yourself with people who share your vision and can offer guidance and encouragement.
Yeah, it makes sense. Building wealth, especially in real estate, can be really complex and challenging. So having a strong support system, people who can provide insights, advice, and motivation can make a big difference.
And of course, being the savvy entrepreneur that he is, he plugs his own academy and upcoming webinars. But, putting that aside, he really does seem genuinely passionate about sharing his knowledge and helping others achieve financial abundance.
I agree. It's not just about him selling his services.
Yeah.
He really seems to want to empower other people to achieve their financial goals.
Mm.
And I think that's where the real value of this video lies. It's not just about specific investment strategies or tactics. It's about developing the right mindset and taking action.
And that brings us back to another key takeaway from the video. The importance of taking action, starting small, learning as you go, and gradually increasing your investments over time. They really emphasize that it's not about getting rich quick. It's about building sustainable wealth through consistent effort and smart decision-making.
Exactly. They're not promoting some get-rich-quick scheme. This is a long-term approach to wealth building that's grounded in education, action, and belief in yourself. And that's why Vinny's story about starting his business with just $1,000 is so inspiring. It shows that you don't need a lot of money to get started. It's about taking that first step, no matter how small, and building momentum from there.
Yeah, it's about proving to yourself that you can do it even if you're starting with limited resources. And that seems to be a core part of his message, believing in yourself and your ability to create wealth.
Right. It's about shifting from a scarcity mindset where you're always worried about not having enough to an abundance mindset where you believe in the limitless possibilities for growth and prosperity.
And he talks about diversification again, but this time focusing on spreading your investments across different asset classes to manage risk. It seems like he's involved in a lot of different things: real estate, mobile homes, oil and gas, even heavy equipment.
He definitely likes to diversify.
Mm.
And it's important to note that his approach to diversification is very strategic. He's not just randomly investing in different assets. He's choosing specific sectors that he thinks have strong potential. For example, he advises against investing in traditional office buildings unless you're going to convert them into hotels or senior living facilities.
Yeah, he seems to be really tuned into emerging trends and changes in the market. He's not just following the crowd. He's actively looking for opportunities where he can capitalize on those shifts.
That's what successful investors do. They're not just reacting to the market. They're being proactive, constantly looking for new avenues for growth and adapting their strategies to stay ahead of the curve.
And it all comes back to that core message of mindset. He and Galter both really emphasize how important it is to believe in yourself and your ability to create wealth. They're not saying it's easy, but they are saying it's possible, and that your beliefs play a huge role in what you achieve.
It's about changing your perspective from I can't to I can, from I don't have enough to I have everything I need to succeed. It's a powerful message, and I think it resonates with a lot of people who are trying to improve their financial situation.
He even talks about the power of visualization, picturing yourself, achieving your financial goals, and living the life you want. Do you think there's any science behind that?
Well, there's actually a lot of research on how visualization can impact performance. Athletes have been using visualization techniques for years to improve their game, and there's evidence that it can work in other areas of life too.
So, by visualizing ourselves achieving our financial goals, we're basically creating a mental roadmap for success.
Kind of. It's about training our minds to believe that those goals are possible, which can then influence our actions and behaviors. It's not just about daydreaming. It's about creating a clear and vivid mental picture of what we want and then taking concrete steps to get there.
That makes sense. He also talks about the importance of gratitude, appreciating what you already have and focusing on the positive things in your life. He believes that this gratitude can actually attract more abundance.
That's an interesting idea. It's about shifting your focus from what you lack to what you have, from a sense of scarcity to a sense of abundance. It's about recognizing and appreciating the good things in your life, which can create a more positive and receptive mindset.
And that positivity can then spread outwards, attracting more positive experiences and opportunities into your life.
Exactly. And that ties into another point. They emphasize the importance of giving back, using your wealth to make a positive impact on the world.
Yeah, they seem to be promoting a holistic approach to wealth where financial success is just one part of it. It's about finding balance, pursuing your passions, and living a life that is both fulfilling and impactful.
It's about recognizing that true abundance goes beyond just money. It's about living a life of purpose, meaning, and generosity, using your resources to make a difference in the world.
So are we ready to wrap things up and share our final takeaway from this deep dive into Vinney Chopra's world of abundance?
Absolutely. I think we've covered a lot of ground here, from practical investment strategies to the power of mindset and the importance of living a purpose-driven life.
It really has been a fascinating look into Vinney Chopra's approach to wealth building.
Yeah.
So what stands out to you as the most valuable takeaway from all this?
For me, it's just that reminder that financial success isn't just about getting lucky or inheriting a bunch of money. It's about, making deliberate choices, developing good habits, and really cultivating that mindset that supports abundance.
Yeah, and one thing that really hit home for me was Vinney's emphasis on taking action. He started with just $1,000 and built a multi-million-dollar portfolio. It just goes to show that you don't have to wait for the perfect moment or, win the lottery to get started.
Exactly. His story shows that even small steps, if you take them consistently, can lead to huge results over time. It's about building momentum and trusting the process. And I love how he encourages people to, start small, learn as they go, and then gradually increase their investments as they gain more knowledge and confidence.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to admit that he's still learning, too. He even said that he didn't know some basic real estate terms until recently, which I think makes his journey feel more relatable and inspiring for anyone who might be feeling a little overwhelmed or intimidated by investing.
Definitely. Kind of takes the mystery out of it.
Right.
He's not presenting himself as this like financial guru who has all the answers. He's open about his own learning process, which makes his success seem more attainable.
And this idea of continuous learning is something he keeps coming back to, whether it's reading books, going to webinars, or finding mentors. He obviously believes that knowledge is power, especially when it comes to money.
And he doesn't just want people to passively absorb information. He wants them to actually use what they learn. That's where the real growth comes from. He encourages listeners to experiment, to make mistakes, and to adjust their strategies along the way.
So it's about being willing to step outside of your comfort zone and really embrace the learning process. And he reminds us that it's okay to ask for help,
Yeah,
whether it's from mentors, financial advisors, or even just friends and family who have some experience with investing.
absolutely. Having a good support system can be so valuable, especially when the market is going up and down. And I think that's another important lesson from Vinney. It's not always going to be easy. There will be challenges and setbacks.
But he says it's important to stay positive and keep moving forward. He even said, if you believe 2025 is going to be a fabulous year, it will be. That really stuck with me.
It really speaks to the power of belief. The idea that our thoughts can actually shape our reality. If we start the year with optimism and believe that we can succeed, we're more likely to make good things happen.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this question.
Yeah.
What's one action you can take today to start shifting your mindset towards abundance and get closer to your financial goals? It could be something small like reading an article about investing, setting up a budget, or talking to a financial advisor. The important thing is to take that first step and keep the momentum going. Until next time, happy investing.